Hey guys, it's Tiago with Skis and Bikes again. Last time you saw me, I was talking about some winter goods, trying to get you hyped up about some new snowboard stuff we had coming in, but the other half of our name is Skis and Bikes, so right now we're gonna be talking about some bikes. So we have the FX1 over here, we have the Dual Sport and the Verve. 3 different kinds of bikes, all by Trek, all different kinds of uses, and they're for different kinds of riders. Now looking at them, they all kind of look the same. They all have very similar parts and very similar compositions, frame geometries, wheels. What's the difference? Because I know I look at them and I'm like, what's the difference? I'm sure you guys have the same questions. So we're gonna go a little bit more in depth. We're gonna talk about them and I'm gonna tell you why you should be getting a Verve over an FX1 or a Dual Sport over an FX. Now, if you follow me over here, we're gonna take a closer look at these bikes. So we're gonna start off with the Verve series of bikes. Why would you want a Verve over an FX, over a Dual Sport, over one of our other brands, hybrid bikes? The Verve is gonna be that comfort hybrid, that's the term for it. This is for the individual, the discerning individual, or gentleman, gentlewoman who really wants a nice, laid back, comfortable ride. That's what the Verve is gonna be for. You're going to the grocery store, the Verve. You're going on a short commute, the Verve. Following the kids around the neighborhood, maybe your cousins, maybe your own kids, maybe the neighbor's kids, and you're chasing them off your lawn. The Verve is the one you wanna go with. It's versatile. I wouldn't hit any big jumps with it. You don't have any shocks in the front, but it has that thicker tire that you can hit some gravel, you can hit some dirt, and you're not gonna, be worried about slipping out as if you had a thin road tire. But you also got this compressible seat post. So if you do hit a pothole, you hit a big rock, you're not gonna feel that along your spinal column. You're not gonna get a jolt and, shatter your lumbar. The other really key point with this is it has more of an upright sitting position when you're sitting on it. You're not gonna be slightly bent, you're not gonna be hunched over like a road bike. This is something for people who, say you have a little bit of back pain in the morning. I know I do, I'm old, my bones are turning to dust. This is the bike that would really make me feel a little bit more confident in my riding ability without having my, old person back throw out. But maybe you're not an old person. Maybe you just like being a little bit straighter up, and that's totally fine. This is that kind of bike for you. The frame geometry sits so that you can have a more upright stance and still enjoy your ride, still go fast, still catch up with the neighborhood kids, and still catch up with your friends. It's a great exercise bike, it's a great commuting bike, it's a great grocery bike. Anything you want to do with it, the Verve is there for you, except maybe big jumps. I would stick away from those. We'll talk about another bike and we'll compare it to this one. So we just went over the comfort hybrid, the Verve. Now we're gonna go over more of the sporty hybrid, the sporty spice of bikes, the Dual Sport. Now Dual Sport is a very apt name because that's actually the name of the category this bike falls into, the Dual Sport. You get some shocks on it, you get a little bit of versatility in terms of your thicker tires, but not too thick that it's, like a mountain fat bike. You can still hit some gravel trails, you can still hit pavement without too much difficulty and too much resistance. It's definitely a bike that fits in that Dual Sport category. It's, it's a tale of 2 bikes in one bike. You can ride it in the mountain trails, nothing too steep or technical. Like I wouldn't hit big jumps, but you're gonna be able to hit a little bit because you got that bounce there. And you also have the ability to take it to work, take it to the grocery store, ride around with your friends, get a little bit of fitness and exercise in it. It really lets you develop that kind of flow and that rider ability. Say you want to become a more confident mountain bike rider, but you also want to have a bike for every day. The Dual Sport fits that perfectly. Say you have a kid, they just graduated from their little kid's bike or their beep beep, and they're ready to go. They're ready to, hit the next level of biking. And they're really intrigued by the fact that this has shocks. Like they look very cool and very aesthetic. Kids love shocks. They're just fun. The Dual Sport's a perfect example for that if they're first getting into that first adult bike, because it gives them that ability to be a little rough, play with the bike a little bit and not have to be stuck on the roads and stuck riding around the neighborhood. They can take it a little bit off road with their friends and rip it up. The Dual Sport's a great bike for not only kids and adults, it's more of like a perfect family bike. You can take it with you to the cottage, you can take it with you back home, you can ride it around. And it's very affordable too. And just like the other Trek bikes we're comparing it to right now, it's at that kind of starter entry level. You have the internal cable routing, you have disc brakes. It's a great bike for a great price, and it's gonna last you a lifetime. Now we're gonna talk about another one. We're gonna talk about the final one in our series, the FX. The FX series is probably my favorite or my personal bike of choice, but we'll get into why that is later. Last but not least, we have the FX. Now, this is what we call a true hybrid bike. This is, you know, the jack of all trades, like of every trade on the planet. It does everything. You don't have to be worried about it. You got rack storage, you want to take it across country. You got bag storage if you want to be a commuter and you want to take it with you to work, take it to the grocery store. You got two, and I say two, water bottle holder attachments. Super hydrated. If you want something to get back into the fitness riding game, like more to get back into riding for exercise and riding to, you know, get some huge thigh muscles, this is a great bike. It's a great option for it. And since it has a much better forward bend to it, you're actually gonna be putting a lot more effort into those pumps with each of your legs. Now, it's not the most comfortable ride, but it's definitely the more effective ride for when you're trying to get a workout. The FX is a nice step from, you know, first bike to road bike. It really lets you develop those skills, and it's a good starting point to figure out where you want to go. If this is your first bike ever, the FX is a fantastic choice. You can figure out, you know, it's not super comfortable. Maybe I'll go with a comfort bike next. Or maybe you're like, this is great, but I want to go faster. Road bike's your next chance. You take it on a couple mountain trails, but you notice that it's a little too rigid when you're bouncing around. You know, the dual sport's your next bet. Or you can go with, you know, any of the other bikes that we sell. But for that kind of entry-level trek space, the FX is probably one of the best bikes that you can go with as your entry level or your first bike if it's your first time buying one or your first time riding one. And, you know, it's one that I would suggest to anyone coming in the store if they tell me that they're looking for something just for exercise and for fun and don't mind being a little hunched over when they ride. You can ride it anywhere you want, anytime, any weather condition. It's got disc brakes, so say you're riding in a bit of a slippery, wet situation, these disc brakes give you that superior stopping power. The Verve gets you a bit more of a comfort ride, the Dual Sport more of a mountain ride. This, if anything, is gonna be catering more to a road biker or a gravel biker. This is gonna be that nice middle ground for everything. If someone says, I want a bike and they don't give you anything else, no other qualifiers, FX. It's a fantastic example, FX. And so we went into a little bit of a shallow dive into each of these bikes and went over the different, you know, ways you're gonna ride them and what makes them different. And I hope that I helped you out a bit because I know I would be confused if it was my first time trying to buy a bike and there's all these similar looking bikes around. But don't worry, we're gonna do more of these. We're gonna do a lot more of these deep dives and we're gonna talk about a lot more bikes. So make sure you come back to our YouTube channel, you take another look. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, just like your favorite YouTubers. I'm gonna be the next Markiplier, don't worry about it. But it's gonna be bikes instead. And yeah, we can't wait to see you in store or, you know, see you on the website. Catch you later, guys.